Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Obsidian Anubis, and I'm back with another Ninth Age battle report. This time it's Game 3 for the one-day tournament I attended down in Vancouver, Washington. March to War. It was a really fun game. I really enjoyed it down at the Dice Age Games. So I took my Saurian Ancients. In my first game, I won 20-0, and in my second game, it was a 16-4 against Ogres. The first one against Dread Elves. But this time I was up against Sylvan Elves on table 1. And I was really excited about this for a couple of reasons. The first one being, I had never played Sylvan Elves before, ever, in any edition of the game. So I really had no idea what I was going into, which was, kind of a hindrance, but that's okay. I really enjoyed playing it, and I wouldn't take it back anyways. And the second reason is that my opponent drove all the way up from California to attend this event, so that was really awesome. So I got to meet a great fellow, and I got to play a great army, so I really enjoyed that. So let's go and look at the armies. So I do apologize, I don't know any of the names since I've never played them. But on the far left, my opponent has 5 of the elves riding the deer. Then he has a group of 10 archers in the building. He has another 2 groups of 10 archers behind the great weapon elves. There's also an eagle snuck in behind there. And on the far right is 6 thicket beasts, I think that's what they're called. To the right of this picture, which is not unfortunately in it, is a group of 10 archer horsemen, a group of skirmishing, scouting archers, and then another unit of 5 deer riders. So my list, on the left I have my 5 chameleons, and then my Thyriscutis, my skink hunters with blowpipes, followed right behind them is my large block of Saurus warriors with the piranha. To the right of them is my Pterosaur with the Ancient of the Ancients, and then to the right of that is my Temple Guard. 23 Temple Guard with my General, who is has a Pterosaur helm, great weapon. To the right of that I have 10 more Skink Hunters with blowpipes, and then a big block of 26 Skink Braves with full command, the Tree Frog Banner, and my Wizard Apprentice with 4 spells of Druidism. And then to the far right, I have a BSB on a Alpha Pterodon and then 3 Ramphon Riders. So my opponent dropped everything first and was pretty much at the very edge of the line. So kind of off that, I knew I was going to have to march forward or go after my opponent. But he went ahead and had the first turn, so he kind of just moved up a little bit. So here you can see the right side of his lines. Really, he didn't really move too much. His right lines moved up a little bit, but his left stayed about where they were. So in shooting, he killed 5 of my purple skink hunters, and that brings us to Saurian Ancient turn 1. So, like I said, I moved up fairly aggressively. I knew he was going to be shooting at me, so I went ahead and moved up pretty much as fast as I could in the front. To the right, I decided to gamble a little bit, so I moved my Ramphons onto the hill, so I'm 9 inches away from his deer riders. Well, sorry, he needs to roll a 9 to reach them on a charge. That's what I meant to say. So I was hoping that he would fail, and then I could countercharge because I had marked that unit and do quite a bit of damage. So we'll see if it pays off. In Magic Phase, I managed to heal up the purple skink hunters, so they were back to full strength. So I managed to heal up what my opponent had did last turn. On the left side, you can see I lost 1 chameleon skink to shooting. But other than that, I kind of kept them at a pretty far distance, so I couldn't shoot, but he couldn't charge me reliably either. So that brings us to Saurian Ancient turn. Sorry, this brings us to Sylvan Elf turn 2. As you can see, I kind of set up that charge, and my opponent went ahead and took that charge, and unfortunately for me, he did make that charge. So he met them, blew them up before I even had a chance to swing, and then just kind of reformed. So this actually brings us to Saurian Ancient turn 2. So you can see that his deer riders are up on the hill facing my lines. My skinks went ahead and turned to face them. My Temple Guard marched up quickly. My BSB also ran away because he was now in threat of being charged. You can see my yellow skink braves skink hunters at the top left. They went ahead and moved the full distance to start shooting, and if my opponent wants to charge them and chaff them, then hopefully I can get a counter charge maybe. In Magic Phase, I got Veil Token 1, which honestly I don't remember what I got off. I think I got Oaken thrown off, but other than that... Oh, I threw some magic missiles at the deer riders on the right. That's what I did. I killed, I think, 2 of them from a magic missile. So Sylvan Elf turn 3. So he charged the deer riders into the flank of the Thyriscutis. Again, because I don't know the army, I don't know how effective these guys are on the charge. Otherwise, I probably would not have moved my Thyroskudus into this position. But what can you say? Um, yeah, and then back here, he moved up his Deer Riders again to kind of move behind my Skinks and get in my back lines. Um, in close combat, yeah, those guys blew through my Thyroskudus and charged into the flank of my Skinks. So that brings us to Saurian Ancient turn 3. So I countercharged with my Saurus Warriors into the flank of the Deer Riders. Heath Riders, is that what they're called? And I also spun around my Skinks to take some more shots at the Heath Riders in the back of my lines. I also just kind of moved up my Temple Guard, who you can see are slowly losing troops from Bowfire every turn. In Magic Phase, I got Flux Card 4, so I got 5 Magic Dice and 7 Draw Tokens, and I believe I just threw Magic Missiles out at the Heath Riders behind my lines. I killed 2 of them, and so there was 1 remaining, and he passed his break test and basically just fled to the corner of my board, so he would not lose his points. So this is really my one big mistake of the game. So I broke the Heath Riders. Actually, I think I just killed them outright, and I decided to chase them or overrun. So I came within an inch of the building. This was, I think, my biggest mistake of the game, because if I hadn't have been so bloodthirsty and held my troops back, he wouldn't have been able to get a flank charge, which on Sylvan Elf turn 4, he makes a charge with both his elves in the front and then his treekin or thicket beast into the flank. So if I would have held them back, I don't think he would have been able to do that side charge, which I think would have made these Saurus Warriors survive. As it is, it happens, you know, you get bloodthirsty. He also decided to chaff up my Temple Guard with the Eagle. And then in close combat, yeah, he obliterated the Saurus Warriors. He didn't kill quite all of them. I think there was about maybe 15 left, but he broke my Steadfast, and so they fled from combat and were caught down by the Treekin, which were also now headed for my deployment zone, as the secondary objective was breakthrough. Alright, so Saurian Ancient turn 4. So I went ahead and charged my Temple Guard into the Eagle to get those points for what it's worth. Turned my Skinks around to start seeing if they can do anything help in the battle. I went ahead and charged my Tower Sword into the front of the Great Weapon Elves. I know that's not the wisest thing to do, but I figured I could get some combat, do some impact hits, maybe cause a few wounds, and then maybe, just maybe, he would hold out there long enough for my Temple Guard to charge in later in the game. In close combat, yeah, my Temple Guard easily killed the Eagle and turned to face. And then my Tower Sword, oh man, he did his weight in gold. I think I rolled like a 6 for his impact hits, so he did like 7 hits on his impact hits. He rolled a 6 for his stomps and killed like 6 more. And then on his attacks, even though my opponent was like distracting and I needed 5s to hit, the Skinks on top, I rolled like 3 6s out of my 4 or 5 attacks. And the Tower Sword himself hit 2 or 3 times. So overall, I ended up killing probably close to like 15 or so of these elves, which brought them below a quarter, which gave me a huge chunk of points, and I really did not expect that. Unfortunately, he did take 3 or 4 wounds for his trouble, so he's just he only has a couple remaining. So my opponent's turn, he does manage to unfortunately kill my Tower Sword. He also chaffs up my Temple Guard with his archers on the horses, and then he moves his Thicket Beast deeper into my deployment zone. So that brings us right back to Saurian Ancient turn 5. So I go ahead and charge my Temple Guard into the archers. I mean, I might as well try to get the points I can. I move my Skinks up, and my BSV just kind of hanging back there to try not to get shot and try to give buffs as you can. In Magic Phase, I got Flux Card 7, which I believe just basically gave me regen on my Temple Guard and Oaken Throne again, because my opponent dispelled that about every other turn. So this was another possible mistake. No, I don't think I would have changed it. So I broke or I think I just killed this archers out. So I could have either reformed to take the elves in the front, but as it was breakthrough, my only chance to get a scoring unit into my opponent's deployment zone was if I moved my Temple Guard, if I overran with my Temple Guard. So I went ahead and overran with my Temple Guard and hoped that they could hold. So on Sylvan Elf turn 6, he charged the flank of my Temple Guard. He killed a few, but I actually managed to survive. And then I think this is my second biggest mistake of the game. I decided to reform at the end of that combat, so I would have more men in combat, but that means he also had more men in combat. His general and my general were locked in fluff battle of challenges, and I don't think I did anything to him, and I don't think he did anything to me this first round of combat. And then I decided to change my fronting so I was facing him. I think if I would have kept him in my flank, he wouldn't have been able to have as many of attacks, and that could have possibly saved this unit. As it is on, this is the last picture I have of the game, so this is his turn. So on my turn, we finished that combat. He unfortunately kills my remaining Temple Guard, and so my general breaks from combat, and he chases and kills my general. So I think if I would not have done that, I would have maybe still been steadfast. I did get a regrowth up on my turn, so I brought it back, I think 4 or so more Temple Guard, but they still just died. But anyways, like I said, it was a really fun game. It ended up being a 1-19 after secondary objective, so it was a 16-4 in favor of my opponent, and then he got the secondary objective, so it became a 1-19. So it was a huge loss for me, but you know what? That is okay, because I really enjoyed playing both the opponent and the army, because I have never played either before. So I would take a 0-20 if I could have this much fun playing with my opponent again. So that is just fine with me. So it was a Sylvan Elf victory, and this rounds out my 3 games of the tournament. Overall, it was a fantastic tournament, fantastic players, fantastic armies. Yeah, Sylvan Elves. This was a very shooty kind of avoidance list, which I don't know. I mean, I've definitely made some huge mistakes, and not knowing what they could do definitely probably hurt me as well. But it was okay. It was a fun game. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I look forward to hopefully playing this opponent and army again. As always, hit like and subscribe, and if you guys saw any mistakes or would like to leave any comments, put those in the comment section below. And as always, game on.